Welcome to the Unrefined Project. My name is Travis. This is my buddy David. How we doing, Dave?
I'm doing good. Doing better now.
Hell yeah, man. And this week we have Beavis on the boards.
What's up, everybody?
Congratulations on getting your show on
Beavis.
Paramount Plus. I'm super proud of you, dude.
Yeah.
And we've been on a bit of a hiatus. We had some things happen.
Yeah.
But
All started with Mother's Day or birthing Person's Day.
Birthing Person's Day. Yeah. But we'll kick it over to Dave so he can give us a rundown.
All right. So today we are going to be adding a new book to the physical library. We'll do that in just a second. Obviously, we were gone for 3 weeks. We both had COVID, so we got that out of our systems, got that out of our way. We're ready to go again.
We got the coof.
Got the coof, yeah. We'll be talking about, obviously, the shooting. It's a hot button issue right now, and the drought in California is back. Who knew?
Did it ever leave?
I don't know.
Dun, dun, dun.
But yeah, so happy Memorial Day, everybody. The book I want to add, and I just finished reading this. I have actually never read this book before. I was very impressed by it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I see a lot of similarities with what's going on the left right now. It is none other than 1984 by George Orwell.
Yes.
He wrote this, I think it was in the 50s. It's pretty scary situation. With socialism and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm surprised I've never read it before. It's a great book. Pick it up. You'll need it. It's like a go-to book when things are, seem to be going good. Take a look at it. So
it's pretty popular. I've read it at least once. It's been a while since I've revisited it, but that and Animal Farm are good go-tos. Unfortunately, we're supposed to be used a bit of as a warning, and I feel like people kind of turned them into some instruction manuals.
shit, dude, that was written in the 50s or whatever it was.
I'm looking it up right now.
And he was writing about 1984. So, and he foresaw quite a few things in there. I would give this, if anybody out there has leftist friends, go ahead and give them a copy of this book. Let them read it.
He has a very good way of subtly kind of predicting a lot of things that he didn't necessarily have the foresight to really see come to fruition. But so originally published in 1949, June 8th of 49. So this is,
I swear there's a couple people in there that he
futuristic.
It's talking about
give us a little
where
bit.
socialism goes, right?
It's the freshest in your brain.
Yeah, it starts off with the characters basically. He's part of the machine, basically, right?
A cog in the wheel.
A cog in the wheel, and Big Brother's always watching you. It's pretty scary, I swear. There's a couple parts in here I'm reading. I was like, are they talking about Bernie Sanders? I'm not even joking.
Oh, don't give it away.
I'm not. You guys read this book.
It's a lot of progressive ideology and policy.
Super progressive, which ends up being regressive, just like what we see today in all the news and all the shit that's going on the left.
It's a solid read.
It's regressive.
And
it's not progressive.
It's
there's no progress there when you're fucking falling backwards,
Is there progress now?
No, there's no. That's what I said. There's no fucking progress anywhere now.
But as we're attempting to build some really good physical, like what we feel as though is worth your fiat to actually have take up space in your home, and this is just one of the classics in my opinion.
This will be a book I run back to. I guarantee it.
It's quoted all
read it
the
again.
time. On social media and whatnot. So yeah, solid.
And don't forget, freedom is slavery.
Yes, it's scary shit, guys.
That's a quote that's in there.
It's scary shit. If you've never read it, do yourself a favor, go get a copy and see where we're headed.
Yeah. It's pretty scary, pretty scary stuff. Horrible book, horrible way it ends. I'll tell you that. But all right. So moving on from the book.
So it is Memorial Day weekend. The whole Happy Memorial Day thing gets a little mundane. We were talking a bit about that in the beginning. I mean, obviously understand why this holiday is in existence, understand why we're given this time to reflect on sacrifices that were made for this country. So Happy Memorial Day, and hopefully you're teaching kids why we're taking the day off. So
Yep. Good said. All right. So a couple weeks ago, we both I ended up with COVID. Got it from one of my kids. Brought it home from school.
We're COVID survivors now.
Got it home from school. Brought it home from school. I ended up getting it. I was sick, whatever. I don't remember it. I really don't remember it. There was a couple funny things, but I ended up giving it to Travis. No, we weren't making out. We should have been, but we weren't. Okay. See, I told you I'd bring it there.
We were in close proximity of each other for longer than 15 minutes.
So he ended up getting it. He got a little worse than I did.
But it was like a full week after you got sick, isolated. We worked together on a Thursday, and it was almost a full week, probably Wednesday night.
Yeah, it was Wednesday night, Thursday night
when I started really getting hit hard.
Yeah, and I didn't, it would have been that Thursday because that's the night I got sick. So it's very strange the way it worked. Yeah. Before this, I knew there was something not natural about this. After this, I'm just 100% convinced this wasn't just out of nature. There's no possible way this was just natural. There's no way. There was a few things, the way it worked, the feelings that you have, I get it. There's diseases and shit that act certain ways and stuff. It just didn't seem the normal.
But, we've been on this planet long enough to have your run-of-the-mill sicknesses.
Yeah.
I've had the flu for multiple days. I've, been sick. Like, I've been there. But this was...
something a little different, I think.
I've had buddies that have kind of questioned, like, if you don't get a test, like, how do you actually know, kind of deal. And I'm like,
dude,
definitively knew that something was up.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't have your classic, typical symptoms either. I didn't have a runny nose. Typically these.
Yeah, I didn't get the runny nose till after.
Nodes or these glands or whatever will swell up if I get sick, right? Sore throat. I didn't have any of that. I was just super lethargic, like totally
just tired. Yeah, I slept a lot.
I was worthless.
I guess I was a pain in the ass. Ask my wife.
Yeah,
ask the kids. I don't remember much of it. I really don't.
My wife held it down. I was Bernie's. I was weekend at Bernie's for about a week there.
I did miss a show that I had tickets to, VIP tickets to go see Dave Rubin in San Jose. Missed that show. I actually have Douglas Murray's book, The War on the West. I was going to bring it with me and have him sign it as well because he was his guest host. Well, that didn't happen. So,
and that was the weekend between you getting sick and me getting sick, and I felt fine. I went to that show. I didn't have any concern that I was going to get people
probably
sick.
Weren't spreading it either by then, because you had no symptoms, nothing.
Yeah, it was weird.
So
it was a cool show. It was about an hour long stand up. I missed the intro. I was still getting drinks with some buddies, but we headed down there. We sat up front and kind of just let him do his thing. It was kind of a stand up routine.
Yeah. So Travis ended up getting the book signed for me. He ended up having. Because you get a signed copy of Dave Rubin's new book with it. So he had Douglas Murray, thankfully, sign it as well. Obviously, he signed not my book in there.
Yeah, he was a little reluctant, but...
I don't know if this will ever make the rounds, but if you ever see it, thank you. I understand it's not your book. I really did intend on bringing your book there to have you sign it, but that didn't happen. I was sick. I apologize. Thank you very much.
My wife...
Douglas Murray, thank you.
My wife missed the show as well. She had to stay home with kids. There were some other circumstances that came up, but she's a huge Dave Rubin fan. She admittedly, I think she actually even said this today, Rubin actually kind of got her into the world of podcasting and listening to some kind of different podcasts throughout her day and whatnot. I
don't remember how I found him, stumbled across him. I started off with the basics, the Shapiros and
Rubin, like 3 years ago, was like a really hot walk-away story. He was on the left. He was proud to be on the left.
He was part of the Young Turks.
No shit.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that at all. Did he work on the show with them?
Show, yeah. That's where he came from.
Didn't Steven Crowder also work with the Young Turks?
No, he's never worked on that side.
Interesting.
He worked on Crowder worked for Fox News for a while.
And CNN, right? He was a contributor for CNN for a bit.
Just Fox. I thought it was I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Look at all these things that I know about Steven Crowder. But yeah, anyway, I think Rubin's kind of a good introduction to pushing against the grain, especially in your group of friends and potentially your family, because he had caught a lot of flack.
Well, he's got it nice that the LGBT community can't go after him because he's a G. Right?
I mean, they do.
They can't. There's no alphabet mafia. They're going to go after one of their own. Well, they do, but
yeah, he's like the house or the Uncle Tom version of the gay community, right? Like he's an outcast. But anyway, yeah, it was cool. We have this little place in downtown San Jose called the Improv. Super intimate setting. There was a lot of people that were just I could kind of feel the energy in the room that this was like the first thing that they've gone out and done in 2 years, in a while. Yeah. And he could feel that as well. And he said one of the things, and I actually even think he
said it on the show the week after. Yeah.
It was a good show. Like we were kind of had the punchlines to the jokes just like on the tip of our tongue, ready to rumble. And he said something that I thought was pretty funny. It was just tongue in cheek, but he's like, "You guys kind of needed this."
Yeah,
you know,
that's exactly what he said on his show a couple days later when he did his first show back. Yeah,
yeah. So it was cool. It was a good time.
I missed it. Thanks, COVID.
Yeah, you know, but I think the point of like talking about that in general is like people just think we're behind enemy lines all the time, and like a lot of people don't want to come here, and you know, for fear of like I invited a buddy last minute, and he's like, "I've never heard of this dude. Are there going to be protesters out in front?" And I'm like, "Well, no,
I know,
but like
they're not going to do that here in San Jose.
You just go and have a good time, right?" So it's kind of nice to see nature returning a little bit. But, yeah, that was fun. So anyway, we are now COVID survivors. So if anyone wants to argue with us about vaccines,
we're 100% correct. There's nothing we say that is misinformation or a lie because we survived it.
That's right.
I got rid of it. I don't remember what it was like. You can ask my wife. She's probably pissed about it. You know, it's like a man cold, right?
It was real. There's one thing I know that a function was gained, and the other thing I know is that we don't.
Peace be upon you, Lord Fauci.
Anything about this. We don't know anything about. We don't know jack shit. It. We don't know how to lock it down. We just are.
I went and got a test, and then they text me because you have to put your phone number down. They text me saying that the county of Santa Clara County has been notified of your test results. Okay.
Well,
what are they going to do? Bring me something? Bring me some chicken noodle soup?
You said that they kind of want. Yeah, exactly.
This ain't Australia yet. Okay, we still got guns. Not me, but
for the time America. Being. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the next topic. But Canada just went full retard a little bit on some of that today.
They've always been full retard.
But you know, Beavis was asking this earlier.
That's America's top hat. Come on,
Canadians have access to firearms, though.
Yeah,
you know they are not like the UK or Australia where it's like
it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard up there though. Yeah, it was already pretty hard.
There's more legwork to own firearms up there. You have to go through more extensive background checks. You have to fill out more paperwork. You have to do some licensing more frequently.
Yeah, well, Australia did that mandatory gun buyback years ago, and there's only like 20% of guns, 25% of guns that were turned in. They still have plenty of guns in Australia.
Yeah, well, that's the thing they don't like to tell you about those kind of programs.
Yeah, more than enough guns still out there.
Compliance rate is close to none. It's close to zero pretty much every time.
Yeah.
Right? But, we were, I guess we could roll into that now.
We're already on the topic.
Yeah, so, I mean, we all know what unfortunately has happened the last couple of weeks since we've all gotten sick. We had a couple of really unfortunate incidences happen. I really like the idea of never saying these people's names.
Like Daily Wire, yeah.
You know, I think that's a really good policy.
Yeah, it just makes them not famous but infamous, right? I mean,
they don't deserve
its attention.
They don't deserve the 1 ounce of the notoriety or attention that is involved with showing their faces or using their names. So we can be a little insensitive and just say the shooter. I just like to call them monsters because that's what they are.
Yeah.
But you know, we had a sick person go into.
Have you actually heard the official timeline of it?
It's changed over 10 times now.
So it's the official timeline was originally from the sheriff's department or something like that out there. After he crashed his truck, dude, he was outside for 12 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
Shooting at an old folks home across the street.
Yeah, funeral home.
That's when the funeral home, whatever it was, that's when the cops were called. He was outside 12 minutes.
So now I'd also like to
12 minutes.
Call attention to how damaged the vehicle was as well. Okay, it was down in a ditch. Was
that because he's a young kid nowadays that they don't care about driving? They don't know how to drive. They don't know what they're doing.
Some people have notion towards the idea that he didn't know how to operate a motor vehicle. I would like to think that vehicle was actually pitted, like a pit maneuver, which is a common tactic.
Yeah, because I think his grandma was the first one that called or something like that. Went to the neighbors after he shot her in the face.
What
a piece of shit. Dude.
He put on social media and told some people, like a girl in Germany that he was talking to, what he was getting ready to do, both with his grandmother, why they were fighting, and where he was going next.
Yeah.
So she actually was able to call 911 after she got shot and, kind of tell what happened. But this hasn't been said yet, but to me, it looks like there might have been some contact with him before he went into the school.
See, I haven't heard that one yet.
The vehicle looks like it was involved in an accident. So.
Well, of course, down in a ditch, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I've seen trucks go through ditches. They don't have their tires kicked out with the control arms busted. I mean, it looked like it.
Either way, this guy was a piece of shit. Didn't deserve to be living in the first place. What he did was awful, obviously. Yeah. It's disgusting. I don't think it has anything to do with gun control or anything like that they keep talking about. They keep bringing up. It's something's wrong in society. Something's fucking rotten in this society nowadays.
It's culture.
It's culture. It is. It's parenting. I mean, I don't know if I'm a good parent. Who knows? When they're that age, we'll find out.
Present.
Yeah.
So there's a start.
But, it's standard. The dad wasn't anywhere to be found. Mom has a boyfriend, I guess.
So
mom does drugs. Mom was on drugs a lot.
Mom is a former recoverer, however you want to put it nicely. But mom was also kicked him out of the house because she was sick, had cancer, and was concerned about COVID. So, before we start talking about the inanimate object,
you can't run it back to that though either. I disagree with that. I wouldn't say, okay, this is why he did it. Now, fuck him.
I'm not saying why.
He's a fucking evil person, and human nature is violence, right? It
really
is.
If you're a mother and you're kicking your troubled son out of your house because you're scared you're going to get sick, there's a problem there.
Yeah,
that's why he was living with his grandma in the first place.
That's a problem from parenting from the beginning, though. Yes,
well,
I agree.
I'm attempting to provide an alternative entity to point the finger at instead of a tool.
You can't really point the finger at this. This is honestly it's human nature to be evil, and if you raise somebody that way, and they've already got the inclination to be a violent, evil person. They've gone through the trouble of school where this kid used to get made fun of. It's the same story every single time.
Yeah,
the kid was picked on. The kid was picked on. You know what? My kids get picked on. I got picked on a lot. That doesn't matter. It didn't do anything but strengthen who I am, right? It didn't make me want to go do what people like this. It's violence. There's literally
signs.
Just evil out
there.
There's
warning signs.
I'm not a religious person, but that's evil.
Yes.
And human nature is honestly, it's violence. We've been in a time of peace for a very long time in this society here in America. We don't know what that's like, right? We don't know what human nature is actually like. It's violence, it's fighting, it's male human nature, not always female human nature, right?
But we have tendencies to allow nurture to affect.
Correct. Yes.
Right. So I don't think evil is inherently like inside of us when we're born. I think it's more like bred, kind of like racism.
You think it's nurture over nature?
I do. I really do. I think it's the environment that you're exposed to. I think it's the individuals that have your ear.
Did you just say just like COVID?
Just like racism.
Oh, I thought you said COVID.
Just like racism. Like
that was nurture, not nature as well.
That was made in a lab, y'all. But
no misinformation here.
Hey, I have my own fact checker now. Okay, I have a podcast, so this is basically truth coming out of us right now. But yeah, I do feel as though that people aren't inherently racist. I think it's a learned behavior, right?
Yeah.
I think it's archaic thinking passed down through generations of just ignorant thought. And I feel like it's harder to be a bad person. It's more effort to be evil. So naturally, if people were just given the choice, I think we would have a more progression, a tendency for people to go towards.
Yeah, there's always going to be those somebody that takes something too serious in life.
Well, so there were signs. There were obvious signs. He harmed animals.
The police have gone to the house because of fights with the mother. And him yelling at each other, screaming at each other. Yeah, there were signs all over the place.
One of the telltale like serial killer like messed up head thing is animal harm. He would find stray cats and like leave them in people's yards and like
Yeah.
weird shit. He would shoot people with BB guns. Sorry, I played with BB guns when I was a kid.
You don't shoot people
cops
with
and
those.
robbers, fucking Indians, and like I never shot people with BB guns. I
Yeah.
never even shot animals with BB guns because I knew it wasn't going to kill them and it would be mean to do that. Right. So there were a few things, but I've seen this tendency to jump on a very popular bandwagon as of late, and it's ban an inanimate object.
Inanimate.
Inanimate. A piece
It's just
of
a fucking tool.
A piece of
Just
metal
say a tool.
that cannot do anything without human interaction.
Yeah.
Right. Much like a hammer, or a wrench, or
Yeah.
a stick. I mean, iron rod. Right. Like block of metal or rock, even, or fists.
Yeah, like I said, human nature is violence. If there's going to be violence, it's going to happen.
Well, so
They're going to find if there's a will, there's a way. That's a very true saying.
We have
if
a
someone
lot
wants
of-
to create as much harm as possible, in this case, as much damage as possible, they're going to do it, right? I think one of the first mass killings at a school was 1927 or 1937. It was the biggest mass killing in a elementary school, I think in a school ever in the history of the United States. It was, I forget where it was. It was actually a bombing.
Oh,
They had time. They went in and planted the bombs before school,
Jesus.
blew it up while the kids were in school. And that's the biggest, largest casualty event at a school
Wow.
in the history of the United States. So
We'll do a little research on that and add something in the description there, because I've never heard of that. Not like I spend my free time looking this kind of stuff
I
up,
listen
but,
to random shit. So
a Columbine is a big conversation point. I mean, we all know these tragedies and atrocities that have happened in our timeline the last couple of decades. But I see a lot of the NPCs that have way too much of the airwaves.
here it's called the Bath School Disaster, 1927. 6 adults and it injured at least 58 killed 38 elementary school children and 6 adults, and injured at least 58 other people.
In 27?
Prior to his time, explosive detonations at the Bath Consolidated School building. Yep.
Wow.
And right before he did that, he murdered his wife. That's crazy. And firebombed his farm. So, I mean, if there's a will, there's a way. Human nature really is violent. We've done a really good job here in this country of keeping it at a minimum. And just the West in general. That means, any westernized country. I mean, you go to, Middle East and stuff like that, there's still violence going on right now.
Well,
if you go to Ukraine, Russia, there's still violence right now. They're not
Ukraine
Western
is a gun-free
countries.
zone, okay? We can send all of the guns that we want there, and we don't have to worry about what happens.
Yeah.
But,
Give them all our
disarm
money.
Americans.
Yep.
Right? So,
And not provide security for our kids at school. I don't
but
think so.
a lot of the NPCs have been, do something, right? Do something. Francis O'Rourke, stormed into a
Beta, man. It's beta, bro.
to champion the do something sentiment, right? But all I've ever heard is, make more laws and take more things from law-abiding citizens. So pretty sure criminals don't give a shit about any of that, and they're not going to listen to any of the laws that are already on the books, let alone new ones that you create.
Yeah, I've always heard if there's less guns in circulation, there's going to be less criminals with guns. That's not really, they'll find it. They're going to find it, whether it comes, we've got a porous border. Our southern border's just pretty much whatever right now. It's open.
I believe that's actually the antithesis. I think
there's plenty of guns coming across.
An armed society is a polite society, right? I think that's why you don't see these cowards doing this kind of stuff at a shooting range. Or a place where they think a lot of other people are going to, especially concealed.
They don't
firearms.
go into police stations and do this.
Right.
They don't go into anywhere where they know somebody's armed.
They're looking for soft targets.
Those stupid gun-free zone signs at schools? I think they need to have signs that there are people at this school that are armed. Come in at your own risk. That would be a better sign.
So there's a few counties in New Mexico that every adult on campus is armed.
That's the way to do it.
From the pastor to the principal to the teachers.
You know what, though? Seeing some of these teachers from Libs on TikTok and stuff like that, I'd be kind of leery about some of these teachers carrying.
I love that you just said that, because I saw some pushback on Reddit from somebody saying that exact thing. It was the wiping the sweat from the brow meme where he's getting ready to choose the 2 buttons.
Yeah.
And he says, arm the same teachers you were just complaining that are trying to groom your kids a week ago. And I'm like, Okay.
That means we need better teachers.
But that also means I'd like to think that like people that want to ban guns probably aren't applying for CCWs.
No.
And trying to like conceal carry firearms, right? There's a certain caliber of American that is going to.
Wasn't there that one? Oh, we gotta find this. Few months ago, 6 months ago, there was the one guy that killed a couple people. He was actually part of some gun control thing. It was real short on the news because it had to do with Obama. He actually met Obama at some gun control rally. He was for gun control. Ended up shooting some people. It's about a year ago now. I've got to look up the story.
I mean, there's a lot of people.
If I find it, I'll put a link in there. It was
some
like
animosity that.
It was in and out of the news though. Obama was related, so it's in and out.
Here's another thing that was in and out of the news that happened 2 days after Uvalde. Okay, I don't know if you heard about this or not, but there was a graduation party that was happening outside. Some guy was driving recklessly outside. He was asked to slow down. He left. He returned later, produced an AR-15, and started indiscriminately shooting
with the lady
in the crowd.
In a purse?
A woman was conceal carrying a handgun and shot him dead.
Yeah.
And prevented a shooting. Nobody probably heard.
Yeah,
about
they never
that 'cause it
talk
didn't fit
about
the narrative.
like the actual defensive uses of firearms.
Good guy with the gun stopped the bad guy.
So
with the gun.
that's why you don't hear the story, right? Because it was stopped before it happened. And that's the thing people forget. There's 1 to 2 million. Some estimates are 3 million defensive uses of firearms in this country a year. Now that every one of those could be a life, every one of those could be a minor injury. Who knows? They're still defensive uses.
Yeah.
That's why the law exists in the first place. That's why it was written into the Constitution. It's for defense.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. We're not out, people don't do it to shoot deers and stuff like that with Kevlar vests, Mr. Obama or Joe Obama. But that's not what they're there
Constitution
for, right?
and the Bill of Rights were never written about hunting. Okay,
No.
Everybody procured their own food with firearms. It was as normal, as common as going to the grocery store is today.
Even in the 70s, 80s, it was normal to have, little small towns. You'd show up to a school, there'd be a pickup there with a rifle in the back window, a shotgun in the back window of their pickup.
They taught children how to shoot in PE all the way up until the 70s to become proficient in firearms in school. So back to the whole do something thing, right? I don't want to pound the table and say we need to take stuff away from people. I would like to involve a little bit more of education when it comes to firearms in the home and education when it comes to firearms in general. I think if it was demystified in a lot of ways and we had responsible gun ownership in the home and allowed the firearm culture to come back into our communities, I honestly do think we would see a lot less of it.
I think we're too far gone to fully have it back. I think I've known people, and you just take one trip through downtown San Jose, you'll see. I don't think we're back. I don't think we're there anymore.
Yeah, but again,
I think society has
culture.
been destroyed so much that we can't. There's too many people out there now, and it's a lot of people in the cities that they could never do that. They'd never be responsible.
Never say never, man.
There's no way.
Because if you talk look
at the homeless problem we got. We can't even get rid of that, and
we absolutely can. We won't. It is the way it is right now by design, not by accident.
Yeah.
But there are things like if you.
Oh, you don't think Gavin Newsom's trying his hardest?
I think he's trying his hardest to get COVID again. Boom!
Oh, he got it. He got it the second time.
Glad that he's vax
boosted. Yeah,
so
double
thankful.
boosted.
But anyways, look, offering some things. Okay, let's get back to the home. Let's get back to the parental coalition of a man and a woman. Let's get back to what children actually need, which is nurture and nourishment from both a father and a mother.
Yep.
In both of their different ways. Look,
100% agree.
I came from a single mom. She worked her ass off. She had multiple jobs. She was there when she could be, and we raised ourselves when she couldn't be. And I didn't really get that input from a positive male role model through my teens and 20s and stuff. But, a lot of young men are lacking that in their lives. And I feel like had there potentially been positive male role models in these individuals' lives, maybe there would have been.
Yeah, they've never seen how a man acts, right? They've only seen an emotional side of life. They've never seen I'm not saying that we're more logical, okay?
I don't
But-
claim to have all the answers, even though I am a COVID survivor. So,
Yeah, so you have all the answers, don't worry.
so
But
I'm right.
I'm not saying that men are more logical, women are more emotional, but I am saying that there is more emotion-driven feelings and stuff like that in women,
Well-
especially in motherhood and stuff like that. It's your child, right?
And there's
there's
also-
got to be emotion. That men have emotions too. I'm not saying we don't.
There's also a difference between men and boys too. I mean, when I was a young man,
There's a lot more
when I was
emotion in a boy,
I had
yeah.
a lot more emotion,
A lot more emotion,
anger, and now I can rationally kind of think things through, right? And
Is that logic? Is it rational? Who knows what it is? That's
Wisdom.
just human. That's just human nature, right? And you need both the sternness of a male role model and the loving of a female role model in your life. That's what I truly do believe that. I think it's the best thing for kids.
So one more solution I'd like to add up. So potentially arming teachers, I'm all for it. I always have kind of been all for it. A lot of people look at me like I've got lobsters coming out of my nose, but I'm all for arming.
Wait, you don't?
Right now?
I thought that was part of COVID.
It's just a side effect. Oh. Well, it's not lobster. It's more like shellfish. Stuff just tastes weird. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
But so that's one thing. Okay, cool. So another thing, take care of the problem before it ever even gets to the school. Take care of it in the home.
Oh yeah.
And another big thing that I have to point out that one of my buddies brought up yesterday, there's parallels between the timing that this kind of stuff started happening and the heavy onset of antidepressants and pills from pharmaceutical companies. Okay, we didn't have things like Prozac.
Yeah, but do you think that kid was on anything?
100%.
Do you think so?
Guaranteed.
I don't know.
Almost
I think
guaranteed.
I think there's people out there that are just that they can be triggered. There's a lot of stories from like kids in his past that he hung out with and shit. I just think he just had no role model. None. His mom looks like a piece
guarantee
of shit.
He was on some antidepressant or some pill.
You think so?
I guarantee it.
All right. All right.
Prozac and Xanax.
I'll
and
give
all
you that
stuff.
one until we find out otherwise.
Prove me wrong.
You've had COVID. You're a survivor.
I got brain fog, man.
You know it.
I'm not thinking straight. I don't even know where I am right now.
Yeah, you're on a podcast. You cannot be wrong.
So, I want to offer up some solutions. And last but not least, I don't ever want to hear again about, just sit back and let the professional handle it. I don't ever want to hear that I'm a LARPer because I might have some kit here and there, or I might train with firearms. Like, I would not hesitate, not one fucking second, to lay my life on the line for any children.
Yeah.
Ever. If
Absolutely.
I was in a position to be able to have that monster shoot at me as opposed to a child,
Yeah.
I would do it time and time again.
I think any one of us would.
I would
for
like
them.
to hope so.
Except for certain people.
But now
I don't understand.
Now we're back to men, right?
I
think this country is severely lacking real men right now, and it's starting to show.
Yeah.
So
well, we
enough of
talked
that.
about this in a couple episodes ago. Same thing.
Yeah.
The lack of not testosterone, not bad.
Machismo.
What do they call it? Not manliness.
Toxic masculinity.
Toxic masculinity. We're missing masculinity. Not toxic masculinity, obviously, but it's gone.
Masculinity
I don't know. It's
can
gotta come
be
back.
toxic,
It can
just
come
like
back.
anything else can be toxic.
That can come back, but I just don't think society now, as it sits, could be all gun owners. I don't think that would be a good idea. Obviously, that's.
See, but I'm a bit extreme when it comes to that kind of shit. Like, I think felons should be able to own firearms.
Yeah.
Right. So I think I look at the Second Amendment and I look at the Constitution a lot differently than a lot of people.
Well, it's an absolute, unless you ask.
Unless you ask
unless
Bo Jiden,
piece of shit.
So anyway, obviously, just
I'm not going to clip that out either.
allow these parents and these kids the time that they need to process what just happened. Let's not jump to conclusions. Let's not try and take more things away from law-abiding citizens. Let's just try and come up with some solutions and actually do something.
All right, let's move on to the next topic, which is a little bit more sunshine and unicorn farts. Is the California drought. Lately, we have signs over our freeway. I forget what they're called. Those signs that you see, the Megan's Law signs. Is it not Megan's Law?
Well, they're talking about a new measure that's going to.
Well, the signs were put up. There's the digital signs that were put up over the freeway that are supposed to be talking about SIG-alert. That's a road close. But if somebody takes off with a kid, they put the license plate up so everybody could see it. It's this big, huge digital sign. And
for the first 4 months of COVID, all it said
wear
was
your mask,
wear your mask, stay home, right? Like
COVID-19's real. Well, we know that now, but
they, don't drink and drive kind of stuff. Right?
Yeah.
So that's, that was something that they put up on those signs. I've been seeing some handmade signs go up on I-5
about the
probably
drought.
the last 18 years, like food grows where water flows kind of stuff. So,
yeah,
for us, this has always kind of been in the back of the conversation that we're having. But just recently, we were told that we're
in a severe drought again.
Water.
Yeah, we're in a severe
drought. We're back
drought.
in a drought again, and we need to reduce our usage as much as we can.
So we did a little bit of research, so none of you guys have to do it.
Yeah, because
there is a fish.
It's a compelling
I'm not
topic.
kidding. Trust me, this will come full circle. There is a fish called the Delta smelt. I'm not kidding. It's a fucking minnow piece of shit. Little tiny 3-inch fish.
It is a bait fish.
It's a bait fish, right?
Yes.
And the population of them has been declining for a really long time. They live for about a year. They don't swim very well. They have issues swimming upstream. So
they're like my little guys.
it's a fish that can't fucking swim. I'm not kidding. So there is.
I have a narrow urethra. Sorry.
Yeah. So when we have heavy rains and stuff like that, rather than turning the pumps on to get the extra water down south, down towards like LA and stuff like that.
So snow runoff from Tahoe and the foothills.
In the rain that we get up in Northern California, much more rain than they get in Southern California. So there's aqueducts that run the whole length of the state. So there's pumps that pump the water down there.
That would divert it from its natural flow to the ocean. Into
correct.
aqueducts.
Correct. That's the reason it was put there. Okay. So we can take it from, the melt, the runoff and stuff like that and send it down south. Well, there's pumps. There's fans on those pumps apparently that run, move the water. And this fish has a hard time getting away from those.
You can't escape.
I'm not kidding.
The force of the water into the blade.
Correct. So it chops up the fish. And since it's now an endangered species and has been, I guess, since 1993, what they do is they just let the water run back into the ocean. You're talking trillions of gallons of water a year.
But it's
trillions of gallons.
We're trying to be accurate here. I'd heard the notion that this was being pumped into the ocean. It's not. It's
runoff
remaining in the natural flow of the river, as it would if the pumps weren't there in the first place.
Correct. So if we built this years ago, it's all 1960s, 1970s, stuff like that.
It's old tech.
They built all this stuff so we can, reclaim the water, use it, stuff like that. So we didn't have to worry about droughts. There was always the 5-year drought plan, right, in California, where you had 5 years. If you had 5 years of a drought, we'd be fine because of all the diverted aqueducts, the waterways, everything like that. We just need one good year every 5 years to keep us out of a drought. Well, that doesn't happen anymore because of stupid fucking fish, dude.
Yep.
I'm not kidding. Look it up if you want.
Yeah. So they have essentially prohibited the usage of these pumps, which
during certain times, when there's too much runoff from when certain parts of
the delta
are too high, and the water is able to run over into the pumping stations, which happens every year or every good year. They turn the pumps off for a certain amount of time until they can prove that there has been less than 305 Delta smelt fish killed a year.
Better not find.
So if you get up to 300 Delta smelt fish, you're talking a 3 to 4 inch fish that went through the pump and died because it can't fucking swim. It's a fish. Yeah, they're minnows. They really are just minnows. They'll shut them down.
That's wild, man.
And that pumps all the water for all the agriculture down in the San Joaquin Valley. It's insane. Trillions of gallons that could be used.
Here we are being told that we're not getting enough rain or we're not doing a good enough job capturing it. But in reality,
we are.
We're coming up with a bullshit excuse. Let's be honest, this is bullshit, to prevent water from flowing to areas where agriculture is dependent on that water. And that in turn is going to equate to less food for all of us.
Or like Beavis said earlier, there was probably some person, I'm not going to say their gender, that went to UC Davis, became a marine biologist, saw one of these fish, thought they were cute, and was wondering why there weren't enough of them, right?
Maybe she made it.
Dude, it's a fucking fish that can't swim. Let it go.
Oops. we've seen this kind of stuff before, especially in the Santa Cruz Mountains. UC Santa Cruz had to halt construction multiple times because some salamander newt scurried onto the construction site.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean, we see this kind of shit, but I don't think it's ever been as impactful as this kind of stuff has been, because there is direct correlation between not having enough water and not having enough food.
Okay, so what's more valuable, to keep this fish that can't swim alive, or keep humans fed and alive? To me, I'd go with the humans. Who cares about the fish? It's literally always been used as bait fish its entire life. There's no point in it. It's a minnow, right?
It's so random.
It only lives for about a year.
The hill to die on to prevent water from.
And the funny thing is the water that gets diverted back into the ocean that we lose every year, the trillions of gallons every year. The fish just go out there and they're killed by predators probably, because they literally only live for 1 year. They've had them in captivity. They've grown them in captivity. Their lifespan is 1 year.
So they go out to the ocean and get eaten just as God is intended.
Well, we didn't do it though, right? So the Fed stepped in, made it an endangered species, and there you go.
Yeah, so that sparked a few questions. Like
that's our drought.
Like who's in control of putting animals on the endangered species list, right?
The feds. I'm sure the state has a lot to say about it, though.
I'd be interested to learn a little bit more about that, but
I don't know. I thought the story was pretty funny.
So the other thing, let's take humans out of the equation real quick. Let's just do an apples to apples comparison. Like, if we don't have enough water, other animals and other species of animals are going to be affected, right? We talk about the bee population being reduced all the time. Well, I'm pretty certain flowers need water. And places that bees get pollen need this water as well. Are we inadvertently harming the bee population, which is much
the road to hell is paved in good intentions. It's always like that, and that's what happens when you think with emotion and you don't think about the unseen consequences of your actions. It really is. It's those the little things every day. One little good thing, one little that you think is good. But you don't look at the overall picture and say, okay, what have we actually done?
Yeah, but I mean, if we were to talk to some actual people that are like in the trenches, farmers, right, they would all tell you that this is a stupid, bad idea. It's people that have desk jobs and are in positions of power in Sacramento that are making these decisions.
Or a marine biologist from UC Davis.
Potentially. But I mean, even
it's like,
then,
this thing is cute.
Like, how many agricultural fields has that person been in, right?
Yeah.
Like, these people are farmers, are even more or even less appreciated rather than the truckers and the nurses and all these other essential people.
Which is funny because that's where all your organic man bun food comes from.
I mean, we got to have our avocados, right?
Yeah.
And they have to be
some rough around the edges farmer made that shit for you. So
a true blue collar patriot who doesn't get any days off, who doesn't get to, grill for Memorial Day and get paid for it, right? Like, these guys are making less and less every year and they're
being subsidized every year more and
they're
more.
Being forced to be subsidized.
So that ends up being, going back to that book, 1984, everything's controlled by the government.
Full circle, baby. Full circle.
But yeah, next time you guys are online, look up the smelt fish.
Yeah.
It's a stupid fucking fish.
Well, it's worth your knowledge and it's worth knowing, because again, like, if you just hear about it in the news or you hear about it from your neighbors and stuff, we're not getting enough water. We're not, and the snow levels up in Tahoe aren't enough. Like, I'm pretty sure they're still fucking snowboarding in Tahoe right now.
Probably.
Right, I know they've extended the seasons for multiple.
They had 4th of July snowboarding 2 years ago. I think it was up at Heavenly.
But you always see the picture of the guy with the stick walking out in the snow, and he's, we're 3 feet below where we should be, and it's like, no, actually, we're just kind of being frivolous with this shit, and we're allowing some idiots to make.
Well, decisions. I wonder if that runoff that they dump back into the ocean, if they consider that an annual usage now. Like, if they look at the total annual year and they say, okay, well, we used 40 trillion bazillion gallons last year, was that counting the water they let back into the ocean?
Yeah, good question.
That we tried to reclaim and they said no.
Probably whatever way is going to make it look better for their argument.
Yeah.
Right? They skew the data to use it to
it blows my mind for a fish. Literally. that can't swim? Isn't that like an oxymoron?
Well, but I mean, so my grandparents used to live in San Rafael, North Bay. They were part of a motorcycle club, a private ranch, 200 some acres. Still alive and well to this day. The MCMA is awesome. And they had a lot of hare scrambles and motorcycle races out there on the guy's ranch. It was a private property. Spent plenty of time up there as a kid, and they used to do water crossings. Right? And the state came in there, said that they were stirring up too much silt and it was affecting the fill in the blank endangered species. So they made them literally pour concrete underneath the water, temporarily dam the water off.
Yeah.
Build a concrete pad, right? Allow the water to go back. Well, it's not like dirt's going to just collect on the concrete, right? But they force these individuals into compliance, spending all this money. It's just, that's that guy's land.
Yeah.
Let's just kind of let them, obviously if they're...
Is it ever really your land, though? Yeah. You'll pay property taxes the rest of your life.
My buddy's going to get
Is it
really
ever really your
right
land?
Now, but is there any such thing as stolen land?
No, it was just taken. It's taken.
Yeah, well, for another time.
And the person that has it now is the last one to take it.
True.
That's the way it goes.
Well,
that's how it's gone throughout human nature. Like I said earlier,
to the victor go the spoils.
Yeah.
Right.
But, get in, break shit, take whatever you can. That's what war was always about. Now it's about peace, love, happiness. Peace is war. That's another saying from the book.
Yeah, the only people that are hippy dippy about peace are people that probably have never really experienced violence.
Yeah, because they've been raised in countries, a westernized country, and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But all right, I think I'm good for today.
Yeah. So I don't know. Feels
welcome
good to
back,
be back,
everybody.
Yeah. It's been a while. We've got some things in the works. We'll kick it back into gear here and get it going. So I'm missing my outro, but anything else you want to say?
Yeah, same thing I say every other show. Love your kids, love your wife, love your families. Get up, move, do something. Exercise. Finally got a buddy of mine to start exercising with me.
Nice.
He's gonna feel great. It's you gotta get up, move yourself, move your body. You'll feel better. You won't feel like a piece of shit anymore.
I don't know.
I'm not saying everybody feels like a piece of shit if you don't, but
it's like that Jordan Peterson meme where it's like where you clean your room so well you're the only trash left in it. That's me.
I like that one.
That's me.
All right. Well, yeah, that's about it. Have a good happy Memorial Day. Good barbecue. Good eating. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Thanks for listening, guys. Peace.